Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Congress stunned. Trump just gave all Americans this unbelievable gift and the media wants it buried. President Trump has always been a man of action. Whether it be business, family, or running the nation, our Commander-in-Chief has shown a desire to think outside the box and always move forward. With that being said, imagine how frustrating it must be to deal with Congress. But even more frustrating is the fact that President Trump and his administration are trying to give this country a gift. Something that could benefit the United States for decades and help regular, everyday families. Good thing for us, Trump will not sit by and watch this incredible achievement slip through the cracks. The approval process for the biggest tax cut and tax reform package in the history of our country will soon begin. Move fast, Congress, tweeted President Trump on Wednesday. But Trump is doing far more than tweeting to get the package successfully approved. Just last week, President Trump reached out to Democratic members of both the House and the Senate, working to push a bipartisan plan that both sides of the aisle could support. The White House asserted that President Trump is willing to do whatever it takes to get the reform passed. We learned this summer that keeping 50 or 52 Republicans in the Senate is not something that's reliable, White House Legislative Affairs Director Mark Short said on Tuesday, referring to the Senate's failure to pass a significant replacement to the Affordable Care Act. Despite promises and commitments they've made to the American voters since 2010, we don't feel like we can assume we can get tax reform done strictly on a partisan basis, so it would be wise for us to try and reach out and earn the support from Democrats as well, he concluded. As expected, Trump has no issue with targeting senators that oppose him, and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin echoed that the president and his administration are committed to passing some sort of legislation by the end of 2017. We're going to get this done by the end of the year, Mnuchin told CNBC about the measure. The administration is super focused. That's what you get with a forward-thinking president who carefully picks his staff. This nation needs doers, not talkers, and issues like these show the American people who really wants to work for them. I want a leader who fights for my quality of life and growth of this country. If you want the same, now is the time to stand tall with President Trump to make sure these politicians do what's right for all of us. Share this now with everyone you know so Trump sees our support. Sources: dailycaller.com. Hope Hicks named comms director, then everyone saw secret reason Trump hired her. Hope Hicks was now given a permanent position as White House Communications Director after she was named the interim Communications Director after Anthony Scaramucci was fired. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee confirmed this to NBC News on Tuesday, and like frickin' clockwork, all the fake feminist liberals started attacking this amazing and hard-working woman. According to these liberals, Hope Hicks is too inexperienced or has a sexual relationship with our president. Here is the one thing that all these stinking liberals missed, though. Most of Trump's communication staff is now female. The media won't show this, though. Share this everywhere to support Trump and his beautiful team of professional women. Liberals absolutely hate beautiful, successful women, and especially if they are conservative. Let's welcome Hope Hicks to her new position and show her some love. Spread this everywhere. Paul Ryan just bent the knee. Look what he just sacrificed for Trump today. A new poll came out by the Center for Security Policy and Eagle Forum, which says that 63% of voters think that it's time to replace Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. 43% also said that Republican leadership in Congress supports the swamp. 63% of voters want new Republican leadership, including 68% of Republican voters, according to the study. Now, look what Paul Ryan said today. He seems to have gotten the message finally. He is finally sacrificing his stupid dignity to get the MAGA agenda done. That's good news. It only took about 8 months for him to come around. Speaker Paul Ryan, this week the House is going to vote on all of the appropriation bills. This week the House is going to vote on all of the appropriation bills before the fiscal year deadline. It hasn't been done in a long time. So the House of Representatives is doing its work. The House of Representatives is doing its job. And the House of Representatives is bringing all of these appropriation bills on budget, on time, and that is an historic achievement. We are fully funding the President's request to build a wall along the southern border. Share this everywhere and let's show the world that Paul Ryan is behind the border wall. Let's get this thing built. It's time to make Trump's agenda reality. It's time to make this country great again. Huge cover-up. Top Democrat just caught red-handed with little boys and nobody is talking. When a scandal hits the Republican Party, you will hear about it for weeks, months, even years. However, when a top Democrat, the mayor of Seattle, is forced to resign in disgrace over 5 underage sexual assault accusers, nobody makes a sound. Well, folks, that's exactly what happened yesterday when Seattle Mayor Ed Murray announced his resignation. This time the victim was Murray's own cousin, Joseph Dyer. Mr. Dyer revealed that Murray had sexually assaulted him when he was only 13 years old and Murray was in his mid-20s. One of his other victims, Lloyd Anderson, was reportedly happy that Murray finally was forced to resign but sad that it took 5 young boys being sexually abused by a respected Democrat mayor for it to happen. I wonder how many other victims are out there, Anderson said. Murray denies the allegations, but the more that come out over decades and from people close to him, the more they seem to hold weight. Now with his resignation, it's hard not to take the side of the victims. This is the kind of filth allowed to prosper in the Democrat Party. Perverts like Ed Murray and Anthony Weiner have shown how dangerous they can be. It's up to us to expose them by sharing this out to everyone everywhere so they see what's really going on behind the scenes. Ultimate justice. The Supreme Court just gave Trump travel ban exactly what it needed. Before Donald Trump is even elected President of the United States, he made it clear he loves winning. And now the Supreme Court has just delivered him the ultimate win for his travel ban. So earlier one of the lower appeals courts heard the case of the travel ban and tried to make a ruling that President Trump had to let in anyone who was pre-approved as well as anyone who was a close relative, aunt, uncle, cousin, grandparent, etc. Well, President Trump was not too happy when he heard they were gonna use their loophole to let in 24,000 new refugees. That's why he asked the Supreme Court to act fast. And they did. Today the Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration can uphold the current ban until after the Supreme Court has their official hearing over the ban on October 10th. No matter how you slice it, this is a big win for the Trump administration. This travel ban has been a headache since the very beginning and now there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Of course, the media will find 1,000 different ways to try and spin this against the president. That's what they do. They spin everything. Help stop that from happening by sharing this story, the real story, everywhere first. Expert mode. President Trump just made 3 Democrats do the impossible. Democrats have been flat out resisting working with the president at all costs for seemingly no other reason than because they're mad he won the election. Little do they know, President Trump is an expert negotiator. He wrote The Art of the Deal, after all. And he can even get Democrats on his side if he wants them. The president is trying to craft new tax reform, which should be a bipartisan issue as even Democrats have railed against the inefficiencies of the current tax code. Nevertheless, President Trump has been met with bullheaded resistance. Until now. The president hosted 3 Democrat senators from red states for a dinner at the White House Jewel Mansion, WV, Heidi Heitkamp, ND, and Joe Donnelly, N. Each of these senators is up for re-election in 2018, and each knows that their constituents favor President Trump and want to see his policies enacted, The Hill reports. We don't know what was said at the meeting, which also included Vice President Mike Pence and several GOP senators, but the 3 Democrats came away publicly stating that they wanted to work with President Trump on tax reform. Manchin said, "I look forward to working with the president, the administration and my Senate colleagues on both sides of the aisle on tax reform and going through regular order so we can help all Americans and West Virginians prosper." Donnelly said he was hopeful to work with the president. Heitkamp said, "As I've long said, I want to work with those on both sides of the aisle on a comprehensive, permanent tax reform plan. I hope these bipartisan discussions continue. That's how it's done, folks." These 3 senators have signaled in the past they'd consider working with the GOP on tax reform, but President Trump nailed these discussions and helped bring that closer to happening. The Senate only needs a simple majority to pass tax reform, but after 3 GOP defectors derailed the healthcare repeal, the president is not taking any more chances. He promised us tax reform. The GOP has signaled they will get reform passed by the end of the year, and with President Trump's negotiating tactics, it looks like it's going to happen. HT The Hill. Liberal freak at Trump may change crucial refugee law for first time in 30 years. President Trump has been a strong critic of America's current immigration system, which he, and many of his supporters, see as far too relaxed. President Trump has been particularly critical of the refugee system and has famously attempted to implement a temporary refugee ban on 6 high-risk countries. The Supreme Court will hear arguments over the legality of the ban in October. But until then, senior Trump officials have been advising the president to simply lower the total quota for refugees. Trump had set the cap at 50,000 in July, but has the option of resetting the number every October 1st. The number has not been less than 50,000 since 1980. The quota Obama set for 2016 was 110,000. The New York Times reports Trump has seriously been considering this option, even referencing that Trump's senior advisor for policy, Stephen Miller, has been pushing for a lower refugee quota. This sounds like a great potential policy to limit the influx of refugees, one that the liberal courts can't find a way to work around. If you agree with this kind of policy, show your support by sharing. HT The Hill.